Most people think, I just need to be more motivated in order to lose weight, but today I'm going to show you why that's a complete lie. If you're new here, my name's Alex Murphy, and I've been helping everyday people lose weight and transform their self-confidence and daily energy for almost a decade now. If you're struggling with your nutrition right now and you just can't stay consistent, this is probably the channel that you want to stick around on. Hit that subscribe button, make sure you never miss an episode, because I'm going to give you all the insights that I know through my decade of coaching people to help them improve their relationship with food, upgrade their diet mindset, and basically make weight loss easier. Anytime that you've started out with a weight loss goal, you've probably had these three things already. You've had a goal, you've had a plan, and you've had a list of foods that you're probably going to cut out for your diet for good. But ultimately, it hasn't worked, which is why you're here watching this video. And if you go straight to the internet to solve all your problems, you're met with messages like, you just need to want it more, which is total bullshit and completely unhelpful. But I take a different approach to this with my private coaching clients, because I know that people are already motivated and I know that they're already desperate to change the way they look and feel in their own body. They just keep running into the same problems again and again, and they don't know how to deal with it. There's three major issues that disguise themselves as a lack of motivation. Issue number one is friction. Your problem isn't a lack of motivation. Your problem's actually that you're experiencing too much friction with a behavior change. Number one thing that I want this video to give you is a different perspective or mindset. Going forward, the next time that you mess up with your diet, instead of saying, oh, I really just need to be more motivated, you need to be asking yourself, okay, what caused me to fail this time? What did I step too far with? And how can I change that in the future? Is there something I can remove that's obstructing me from getting to my goal? When you ask questions, you get answers. Don't just give yourself shit for not being motivated. That's stupid, and it's what people do to stay stuck their entire lives with their weight. Here is exactly how to know if you're already motivated enough. Number one, you're watching this video. Number two, you've tried countless diets before and failed. Number three, you're willing to try again. That's it. That's how I know you're motivated to lose weight. So now that we know motivation isn't the problem, we can get down to what the actual problem is. Like I said, problem number one is you're experiencing too much friction with a behavior change. I find it helpful to do a visual example of this, so let me explain. At one end of the spectrum, you have your current behaviors. This is your daily habits, the things that you do on a daily basis, like your eating, your sleeping. That's what you're currently at. And at the other end of the spectrum is your goal. That's how you'd like to behave, how you'd like things to be on a daily basis for your lifestyle. Now, the problem that most people make is they try and jump way too quickly to whatever the influencers are doing online or whatever David Goggins is doing online. They think they have to wake up super early, jump in a cold tub, go for 10,000 steps or run a half marathon, and it's just too much of a jump to make in one go. So what happens when they lose motivation, they start to make these slow, insidious creeps of behavior until they start to go back to square one, and then they're like, oh, I gained all the weight back, I didn't stay motivated, I must suck, I must be the problem. Now let's look at a better way of doing this. Instead of rushing out the gate and trying to create the perfect behavior straight away that ultimately spikes our motivation really quick and ends up back at square one falling down super quickly, I want people to build their habits up progressively. So this might look like one small change at a time and then getting used to that change for a little bit of time. Then we will layer in a new behavior or upgrade that for a while and get people to stick with it. You need to adapt to your changes. So we're looking at every stage of this, getting a little bit more comfortable with how this new lifestyle or how this new behavior feels. Instead of trying to go from 0 to 100 immediately really quickly, I just want you to start building your habits slowly. So the first thing we have to do is identify the bottleneck or the friction point or the thing that's holding you back. Most people have an instinctive answer about what this is for them already. Some answers that I hear all of the time are, I just don't have the time. I always mess it up on the weekends. I'm all or nothing with my nutrition. I just love food too much. I've got kids. It's my belief that most of these bottlenecks are belief problems, or they're simply another problem masking themselves as a belief issue. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at the first example, the classic, I don't have time. Now, I believe it when people tell me they're busy, but what I want you to do right now is open your phone, go to the settings, look at your screen time on average from the past week. Now, ask yourself how much of that time spent on your phone is really urgently essential for your life. Yep, this is what I mean by a belief issue or an issue masking itself as something else. Everyone is busy all of the time, but sometimes we are just procrastinating and distracting ourselves from the thing that we need to do in order to be successful. And sometimes this is because we don't believe that we're worthy of success or worthy of the results that we're pursuing. Sometimes this is a self-sabotaging trick that our mind plays on us because we've been trapped in an identity of someone who fails over and over again with their diet for so long that our mind is actually resistant to the change that we're trying to bring in. This identity is so much a part of who we are that we have to consciously exercise effort to overcome that thought process every single day. This is why you shouldn't just focus on being more motivated. Your focus should actually be on bringing more awareness to your internal narrative and thoughts on a daily basis, and to become more aware of when you're sinking back into your old habits. Secondly, sometimes your motivation issue can actually be a lack of clarity. This happened recently for one of my clients, Kim. Since joining our program, she had ticked off all her goals, lost a load of weight, massively improved her food relationship and her habits overall. We had taught her how to diet without the extreme measures she'd used in the past, like trying to give up chocolate, or going on long runs, or doing detox cleanses. All of that shit hadn't worked for her before. We gave her our sustainable weight loss system and our mindful eating practices so that she had all the tools to know how to do this diet on her own. But then something happened. Now that she had all the tools, she didn't quite know where to take that next step. It's like going out to Homebase or a DIY superstore, buying a whole toolbox, but then not necessarily having the instructions to go and start your DIY project. Sometimes the lack of clarity is the thing that actually stops you from getting started in the first place. And you're so unclear about your lack of clarity that you just think you're not motivated. You think you're lazy. And guess what? That feeds back into the lazy, unmotivated identity that you've fostered for yourself over countless years. Instead, what you actually need is someone to just draw on the wall and say, drill a hole here. This is your clear action step. Go and do it. The toughest part of a DIY project is actually just starting it. Once you get in, you realize how to do it, you get better, you practice over time. Yes, you maybe make some mistakes, but ultimately you learn from them and you move forward. Sometimes you've got everything that you need. You just need help figuring out that first step. That is the power in having a specific plan and something to keep you accountable to those steps each and every week. Having steps and clear instructions is just one element of succeeding with a weight loss plan. Another is having someone reset your goals with you. Going back to that DIY analogy, imagine you've done the bathroom and you've done the kitchen and you kind of think, okay, I've done some nice stuff to my house just now. You could leave it at that and have a half-finished project, but ultimately what you want is to look at a bigger challenge. Can I do the garden? Can I put an extension onto the back of the house? Can I turn the office into a guest room? The 10 years that I've been coaching nutrition and helping people change their lives, the biggest thing that holds people back from achieving their biggest goals, not being able to use anything other than pain and insecurity as their motivation fuel. Because when you start a weight loss program or decide to make any kind of change in your life, it's usually from a place of pain and insecurity. You don't like how you feel, you don't like how you look, you don't like how other people perceive you, and sometimes you reach a point where enough is enough and you have to get off the couch and do something about it. The problem actually comes when you've achieved that first goal, you're a few degrees removed away from that pain and insecurity, and you don't know how to upgrade and find a motivation source that's going to pull you forward. Because it's like speaking a completely different language to yourself. Up until now, you've used shame and guilt and pain to motivate yourself. But you can't hate your way to body confidence. It becomes much more about how much further you could go, how much fitter you could get, how much more energy you could have, and how it would benefit the people around you more than just yourself. How would it inspire others in your family? How would it look for people in your workplace? How would it look for partners that you potentially desire? All of that stuff becomes your bigger future that you have to push towards. It's about finding a motivation that pulls you forward rather than pushing you from behind. And that's just a language that most people don't know how to speak. So, just to be clear, it might not be motivation that's holding you back from your weight loss goals. It might be some friction or a bottleneck. It might be a lack of clarity or a lack of upgrading your goals. So if you're feeling guilty about your efforts and your failures so far in your weight loss goals this year, I hope this video gave you a different perspective and something new to think about. Above all else, I hope that it gave you hope. If you know you're feeling lost or stuck on exactly where your first action step should be with a weight loss plan, I've dropped a link below with a free gift for you. Click the link below, fill out some details, and I'll send you a custom weight loss plan specific to you to help you get started on this journey. No templates, no generic bullshit, just answers and marching steps to get you on your way. Like I say, if you enjoyed this video, I want you to share it with someone who you think might find it useful, and consider subscribing below so that you never miss another episode.